This time we are visiting some of my favourite hidden gem hunting spots right here in the fine city of Norwich. One of which is sadly no longer with us, and a few of which sadly may not be far behind.
Get pick us! Building the gangster! Road trips! Night game ahead!
Hello again folks, and welcome back to a very special video. That's because today I'm sharing with you some of my favourite hidden gem hunting spots right here in the fine city of Norwich. And all of these stores have one thing in common. They are in the Anglia Square Magdalen Street region of Norwich. But everything in this area is about to change. For years, Anglia Square has been overshadowed by the threat of demolition, and that day is coming very soon. Anglia Square is going to be redeveloped with new housing and business opportunities, but the businesses which at the moment call it home are losing their home, and some of these stores will close forever. And unfortunately, in this video we visit one of these stores for the very final time, and trust me, unfortunately, I believe in the future a lot of stores will also sadly disappear. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and please subscribe, as I put new videos out every Saturday live at 5, as well as bonus content throughout the week, and you never know what to expect. I'm hitting up charity shops, car boots, CEX stores, independent gaming stores, literally anywhere I can find cool items for my collection, so you never know what to expect on a Saturday. It's quite apt that our hunt starts this time at Anglia Square here at Sutton Toys, a store I only recently discovered and is slowly becoming one of my favourite hunting spots here in Norwich. That's because it has an absolutely incredible selection of retro toys. They always have loads of incredible stock coming in, and every single time I see something different, some things which I haven't seen for years or things which I've never seen before. And the prices here are absolutely fantastic, so let's see what we can find here today. Now, I've been on the lookout for a long while for a very specific one of these WWF Hasbro figures. It is for me the quintessential Macho Man Randy Savage. The Series 5 Hasbro figure is just one that seems to be eluding me all the time. Now, don't get me wrong, Sutton Toys had some really good figures here, including a very early Macho Man, but not the specific figure I'm looking for. Now, it's not just toys that Sutton Toys sell, it's also video games. And remember this game right here, the special edition of Dishonored, because I'd never seen this until today. Just remember this for later in the video. Heading over to the Glass Cabinet of Dreams here at Sutton Toys, and again they had some really good modern and retro games in here, again at really good prices. Some really nice loose SNES games, but I was mainly impressed by their selection of PS1 games. I've been on a real PS1 collecting kick recently, so this was really cool to see. Next up, we're onto a charity shop again here at Anglia Square, and this is a charity shop whose days may be numbered, because remember, they are in the process of knocking down Anglia Square and redeveloping this entire area, so the days of this charity shop may well be numbered, which is a shame, as this charity shop always has some really cool items, and this was super cool. This monster in my pocket thermos. Now, this looks like it's super duper faded. I think this is roughly the colour it would have been, but it was a little bit too sun faded, so I did pass on this. But for me, thermoses like this are so quintessentially retro. I just absolutely loved seeing this. Now, of course, whenever I visit any charity shop, I'm going for these DVD shelves, looking for DVDs either to add to my collection or to flip into CX, and of course for video games hiding amongst the DVDs as well. But this was a DVD box which back in the day I really wanted, the Mighty Boosh Live Future Sailors Tour, a tour my wife was lucky enough to go on, which I am very jealous of. I was kind of tempted to pick up this Blu-ray, Quantum Apocalypse, as I love these kind of apocalypse movies, but I'm guessing this is one of those straight to DVD films as such. But let me know in the comments down below if you've seen this, as like I said, I'm a massive fan of these disaster movies, and this could be one which I need to watch. I'm a big fan of 3D DVDs. I do always keep an eye out for these. I still love watching movies in 3D, but these were super cool to see. These Avengers films with the slip cases. Now, this is a slippery slope, but these slip cases are very cool. Was very tempted to pick these up. Speaking of slippery slopes, this is the same store which also saw me slipping back into VHS collecting late in 2024 as I picked up the original Star Wars trilogy on VHS in this store. And honestly, it amazes me to still see VHS tapes in a charity shop in 2025. We did finally manage to find some video games in this charity shop, but I think these are literally the definition of shovelware. Pippa Fernell for the Wii must be absolutely terrible. Speaking of the Wii, the same charity shop had a Wii console for £25. As the most produced console of all time, I'm sure you'll be seeing these in charity shops for years to come. Next up is Surplus Trading, which used to be further up the road on Magdalen Street, but is now in the same area as Anglia Square, but it is a much larger store. And you can see here, they had boxes of video games for £2 each. And as soon as I see something like this, you know I'm digging, because you never know what you're going to find in boxes like this. So on the outlook, it looks like it's a lot of Xbox 360 games, but I kept digging and there was some really interesting bits in here. Don't get me wrong, £2 for an Xbox 360 game is a pretty good price, especially when some of these games, the prices are going absolutely crazy. But the thing is, you expect to see Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, Wii games in bargain bins like this for £2. But what you don't expect to see in a £2 bargain bin is PlayStation 1 games. And one of these games was complete. We are talking £2 for a complete PlayStation 2 game. Yes, I'm going to pick this up. This was a real pleasant surprise. It just goes to show, when you see bargain bins like this, it's always worth digging. But it's not just bargain bins here at Surplus Trading. They also have some other games in the glass cabinets. And a game which I've been looking to get for the PlayStation 1 for a very long while. At a very good price. You'll have to stick around to the pickups to see which game I picked up from here in the glass cabinet. But what's this we see? Again, I'd never seen this game before today. The special edition of Dishonored. I didn't pick it up again because I just don't know how to display this game, but it was so strange to see it not once, but twice in the same day. Hiding behind Dishonored was some really good Xbox 360 games, including a very mint-looking copy of the original Gears of War with that really nice steelbook. But heading downstairs at Surplus Trading, yes, it has 2 floors, something I only discovered on this most recent trip. They had a really good selection of real retro games. Like, check out the artwork on these Amstrad cassette tapes. These are really cool, and I love these kind of holders or cases for these tape games, because one thing I love about these games is the artwork and just the retro feel about them. Not just the artwork, not just the fact they're on cassettes, but just like, in what day and age would you expect to see a tape holder like this? And these cardboard cases are so cool. I just love the retro chic of these games. Heading further up Magdalen Street, we found another charity shop and some very interesting toys on display here in the window, including a figure line I've never seen before, these kick-ass figures. Now, these were in the back of my mind the entire day, as normally, if it's something I've never seen before, chances are I'm going to pick it up, because the best time to grab something is when you see it. So I'm going to be thinking about those toys all the way around this hunt. But back in the charity shop, we did have some video games here, but these were quite highly priced. Not terrible prices, but just not charity shop bargain prices. Speaking of, this same charity shop did have some very rare steelbooks which I've never seen before for both Watch Dogs and The Division. Now, these were labelled as rare, and a Division steelbook was £30. Now, comment down below if you would have picked these up. For me, I thought the price was a little bit high, so I did pass, but let me know what you do. Our next stop this time is Aladdin's Cave, an absolute institute here in the fine city of Norwich, and unfortunately this will be our last trip ever. That's because when this video drops, this store will be no more. One of the other businesses being affected by the closure of Anglia Square will be moving into the premises, and Aladdin's Cave will, alas, be no more. So we're going to make the most of our final trip here, and this was the first time I visited when they had their upstairs Saturday afternoon flea market. And you know me, I love a flea market, and there's a lot to hunt over this absolutely massive store, which will very, very much be sadly missed. But let's make the most of our final trip here. And straight away, we are finding video games. Yes, it's mainly fairly common games, but I'm just happy to see video games. This is something I haven't thought about for literally years. This kind of specific choose your own adventure book. I'm sure when I was in school, I used to read these all of the time. I can't remember any specific titles, but these just triggered something in my memory banks. This is the stall of a local independent trader, Regen Games, who used to operate a store in Anglia Square, which unfortunately was forced to close due to a leaking roof, which is one of the main problems of Anglia Square. Basically, it has seen better days, and a lot of the companies who did operate there have been forced to vacate. So it's really cool to see Regen Gaming carrying on their game selling here at its flea market. Unfortunately, one of the issues which has afflicted Aladdin's Cave over the years is pricing. A lot of the items for sale here never had prices, which can be kind of annoying, having to contact the owner of the kind of stall to get prices. There was a load of really cool strategy guides here, but unfortunately none of these were priced. I did manage to find out eventually these were all £5 each, which isn't a bad price, but it was nothing I really needed here. Don't get me wrong, there were some really cool strategy guides here, but in the games room, space is slowly becoming a premium, and I have to be very picky with the guides I pick up. I think over the next 12 months or so, I may actually downsize some of my video game guides, simply because a lot of these guides I do judge by the cover, and a lot of these have very large borders and not as much artwork like this Turok 2 one here, which is just full artwork, looks super cool, and I just love the retro chic of this. Now, this is something I will always be a sucker for, trading cards, especially sealed packets. And yeah, I'm going to pick these up. These vintage early 2000s TMNT trading cards, as well as this packet of Batman Forever trading cards. But I guess the question is, should I open it or should I keep it sealed? It's hard to judge with these, as you may open it and get nothing. We saw some strategy guides earlier, but check out these art books for some classic games right here. Now, these are normally the ones that kind of come in smaller special editions, which normally have, say, a steelbook and then an art book. So I did leave these behind, but these are super cool. But a lot of these I already have in the special edition of games, so I did leave them behind for someone else. We saw that Monster in My Pocket thermos earlier in this video, but more often than not, these thermoses came as part of a lunchbox such as this. And this Thunderbirds one was in incredible condition with both the hot and cold flask. This for me is such a memory of taking one of these back to school years ago. You were judged at school by your lunchbox, and honestly, I think if you had this one, you'd be the coolest kid on the playground. Just up the road from Aladdin's Cave, we have Beatniks, a store which primarily sells CDs, records, DVDs, but they also sell games. And more often than not, they have a surprisingly good selection of games in here, including some rarities you don't see very often. Like, I was very tempted by this Persona 5 Steelbook, but this is a franchise which I have never played before. So let me know in the comments down below, where do I start with a Persona saga? I need somewhere to start to experience these games. The thing that really impresses me about Beatniks is their selection of PlayStation 1 games, and this is not just a one-off. It seems more often than not, when I visit, they always have a decent selection of PS1 games, but unfortunately a lot of the games I was tempted by this time didn't have the manual, so I did pass. Just up the road we have the Oxfam charity shop. Nothing too exciting this time except for this Calvin Klein shirt, which I picked up for work for just £9. For a label such as Calvin Klein, for £9, I couldn't leave it behind. Our final stop this time is Lucy's Emporium, a charity shop which is so famous here in Norwich that it is featured on both Dickinson's Real Deal and Bargain Hunt. And you may be wondering, Dan, why are we hunting in an antique shop? That's because sometimes you can find some really cool items in here, and it doesn't get much cooler than these cinema movie posters. Now, these are the original cinema movie posters, not represses or reprints. These are the originals, which would have been in those light up boxes on the side of the cinema. Trust me, if you know, you know. You may remember these from back in the day. I used to love seeing these. I think somewhere in storage I have the full-size Jurassic Park one of these, and some of these can be incredibly collectible, and these just look so good framed. I think this was the highlight for me this time, Star Wars Episode 1 3D poster. But like I said, some of these can have a high price tag, but they are super cool. Lucy's is absolutely massive, and remember, this is primarily an antique store, but if you're a retro or game collector like myself, there are some cool bits hiding in here. Like you can see here, there is a very large selection of Pokemon games here, but it is mainly antiques. And like I said, this place is absolutely ginormous, and it is a sensory overload. It is split over 2 floors, and it is absolutely vast. There is a reason that this antique shop is so famous. But this is why I love hunting in Lucy's. While it is primarily an antique shop, you never know what you're going to find. And this was super cool. These kind of weird third-party vintage PC games, the kind of weird titles that aren't like... It's so hard to describe. They're not exactly AAA titles. They're kind of cheap knockoffs of better known games. I did pass on these because honestly, these are something I don't think I've ever really seen before. Like the kind of weird educational software that I have no knowledge about. But this is the thing about hunting in Lucy's. You never know what you're going to see, including this massive guitar. As well as that massive guitar, I did manage to find some slightly smaller items, such as these Star Wars VHS tapes. Now you can see one of these did have a rip on the side, and I think these were meant to have a slip case which held them all together, so I did pass on these. But remember, because this is an antique shop, you may be paying slightly higher for these items. All of these tapes I think were £5 each, so I did decide to pass, even though the artwork on this Return of the Jedi was super cool. There's just something about the retro artwork on these Star Wars VHS tapes which just hits differently. Sticking to the theme of VHS tapes, this was super cool to see Clerks, but this was the ex-rental version of this movie, which just makes it so much cooler. But unfortunately, when I did open this up, it didn't have the correct VHS tape, so unfortunately we did have to pass. But keeping it movie themed, check out this massive banner for 28 Days Later. I have no idea why I'd hang this, as well as this original Platoon movie poster. Again, super duper cool. Had a pretty decent price tag, but again, where could I hang this? In the games room. We're coming to the end of our day hunting here on Magdalen Street in Norwich, but I'd been thinking about these 2 kick-ass figures all day. There's no way I can leave these behind. Let's take it back for the pickups. Here we are then, back in the games room after a somewhat somber game hunt. That's because I've not just been hunting in Anglia Square and the surrounding area in the more recent years. I've been heading to Anglia Square shopping for as long as I can remember. For myself, growing up on the coast and heading to Norwich was one of the only opportunities I got to go to some of the larger toy shops. Toy shops such as Kerrison Toys, which I have such fond memories of in Anglia Square. It's where I have some of my strongest childhood toy collecting memories. Going into the store and seeing like the original Jurassic Park Kenner toys, the Aliens figures, so many incredible days spending birthday and Christmas money, and just amazing memories. And I think that's what we do as retro collectors. We try and grab things which hold memories for ourselves, but unfortunately we can collect all of these things that hold nostalgia, but unfortunately progress never stands still and places will come and go. But of course the hunt never ends. We got some amazing pickups this time, so let's just hold on to the nostalgia of this final trip to this iconic area of Norwich. Let's get into our first pickups, and these first games come from Surplus Trading. And I cannot believe I managed to pick up a copy of Colony Wars Red Sun for the PS1, fully complete, for just £2. This just goes to show it's always worth digging through these bargain bins, as you never know what you're going to find. The other game I picked up from Surplus Trading is this game right here, from the glass cabinet, Independence Day the game. Now, this was a game I never got the opportunity to play back in the day. This was released on the PS1, the Sega Saturn, and also PC. But back then, I only had the N64, and I wasn't able to play this movie tie-in game for a movie which I absolutely love. Now, I was a bit confused by this cover because it's not quite like a value cover. It says on here, this game forms part of the 1998 4 PlayStation multi-pack, and I did a bit of research and this did come as a pack of 4 games, which you'll be seeing on the side of the screen. There's very little information about this 4-game pack, so if you know anything else, please comment down below. Our next stop for the final time ever was Aladdin's Cave. This is a store which has been a part of the Norwich scene for as long as I can remember and has now closed. I just want to wish all of the vendors and the owners the best of luck for the future. We have just 2 pickups this time, and it is these 2 packets of sealed trading cards. But the question is, do I open them or keep them sealed? Our first pack of trading cards is 2003 Turtles trading card pack. Now here's the thing, when you keep these packs sealed, they retain their value, but as soon as you open them, they lose value unless you find a rare card. But some of these cards can be worth a lot of money, but it's all about finding those rare cards. So with this pack, there's 84 basic cards and 36 puzzle cards. But you have no guarantee you're going to get those cards. But when we look at this next pack from Batman Forever from 1995, this has the chances of finding the rare cards. So there is 36 hologram cards. Approximately every pack gets one of those. 10 chromium animation cards, approximately 1 in 4 packs. 2 acclaimed video game cards, approximately 1 in 18 packs, and there's no guaranteed number of limited edition cards per pack. So comment down below. I will be holding a poll. Do I open these or do I keep them sealed? Which brings us on to our final pickups this time, and it is these 2 kick-ass action figures, and these quite literally kick ass. Now, I was in 2 minds whether to pick these up or not, but I've never seen action figures from this movie franchise before, and these look super duper cool. They are really, really detailed, and the most important thing, they are complete with their weapons. Now, these were £8 each, but like I said, I have never seen these before, and honestly, I just couldn't leave them behind. There we have it then, folks. That was a very emotional game hunt right here in the fine city of Norwich. But this is, for me, what retro collecting is all about. Keeping items that just hold a significant place in your memory. And I have so many incredible memories right here in the games room. It is my favourite place to be in the entire world. And while I have these items around me, I'll have the memories forever. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe, but as always, keep playing the game. See you soon.